What's happening, vapors? This is Nick coming at you again. This time as the e-cig advisor, formerly GSV. It's another story for another day. But let's get on with the IPV V2 follow-up review. Alright guys, as you all know, I have had this device, the IPV V2 from Pioneer for You and Greenleaf, for 11 days. And I am now completely acclimated with this device. I know what's good about it, I know what's bad about it, and I want to share that information with you. But first, I have a couple of corrections that I want to state regarding my initial review. The first is, there is protective plastic on top of the touch sensor and the side display with the stars. There is protective plastic. So I apologize to everyone out there when I said there was not. The reason I said there was not was because when I tried to get the display off, the plastic had actually gotten in underneath the seams. So when I was pulling it out, I literally had to pick and pull it out. I almost had to pull out my alligator forceps, which, by the way, these are phenomenal for builders out there, and we'll discuss that another time. So my bad right there. One of my favorite things about this device is its build quality. The materials used on the IPV V2 are superior. It feels good in your hands. It looks good. It's scratch resistant. It has a nice hefty feel to it. You can tell that a lot of thought and work was put into the design and implementation of this device, and that is something I really appreciate. The buttons are soft and easy to press. They have a nice click to them. One thing I really like, as I mentioned in my initial review, is menu controls. I mean, to lock the device, it's not even 2 seconds. I was doing 1, 2, 1, 2. It's literally just hold it down for 2 seconds, 1.5 seconds, and the function's done. Lock, unlock. To disable the touch sensor, you just hold fire and negative. To enable it, fire and positive. It's that intuitive and that quick. That's how quick it reacts. The other positive that I have to mention right away is the fact that the 510 connection is highly adjustable. It takes a Phillips head and is easily adjustable to whatever atomizer you want to put on here. I have been able to get almost everything flush on this device. As you saw in my last review, I had a Tobe clone from Pro that sat perfectly flush. Right now I have a Tugboat clone from Tobacco sitting perfectly flush. K-Funs sit flush. Basically everything. The Kangers, absolutely. The Pro Tanks, the Mega, etc. They all sit flush. Even my 28.5mm Addies sit flush with this device, with very minimal adjustment. So I am very pleased with the fact that you have an adjustable 510 connection with the screwdriver. It's not a floating pin, and that is a definite perk in my opinion. Floating pins tend to degrade quicker, and frankly, they don't work with every Addy that you have out there. So now let's discuss the negatives. Alright, the negatives of this device, they're small, but they're important. And I will start by saying that this is definitely not a sub-ohmers regulated mod. Yes, you can get down to 0.2 ohms. Yes, in my test I used a 0.3 ohm dual coil setup. Battery life is horrendous with sub-ohming. The sweet spot is between 1 ohm and 1.5 ohm resistance atomizers. That's not a problem if you own, Kangers and Aspires or whatever. But if you're building your own coils, please keep that in mind if you want to utilize this device and not carry extra batteries in your pocket. Which leads me to my second point. That is that the rechargeable port, this micro USB port here in the base, they discourage you from using the device while it's charging. That is not the same as with my H-Cigar DNA 30 mod. I'm allowed to have this plugged in and vape away while it's plugged into the wall. You are not able to do that with the IPV V2, although I have heard many people doing it successfully. I personally have not tried it because the manual says do not try it. I have reached out to Greenleaf representatives. Nobody has responded to me regarding why they say not to do it. All I know is it is discouraged. The other issue is, obviously, there is no pass-through function on this, meaning you cannot plug another device in and utilize the battery inside. Frankly, that's not a big deal to me because the battery is insufficient for a 50 watt device. This really should have been a dual 18650 box like the SX330 V3 coming out next month, which I will have and will be reviewing as well. Because of the lack of dual battery capacity and the lack of ability to use this with the micro USB charger plugged in, I have chosen not to bother with the charger at all and have basically swapped out batteries throughout the day. And let me tell you, there have been days where I swapped out 5 VTC4 batteries from Sony. Now that I have my sweet spot, so to speak, for my personal use, I can get by with 3 batteries. But what that means is I am unscrewing the back compartment 3 times a day. And that also means I have already lost 3 screws. In fact, because of that, thankfully they give you, extra screws. But because I have lost so many, I'm now only screwing the top in and leaving the bottom open. And with the tow baddie and a lot of other like Pro Tank 2, Pro Tank 3, that's actually great because you can unscrew the top halfway and then swing the latch open sideways. Swing it. With this Tugboat, I don't have the capability to do it because it's just slightly larger in width. But that's a great trick if you are concerned about losing screws and doing what I'm doing, which is bypassing charging the batteries inside the device and simply swapping them out as you go. You don't want to lose the screws. Yeah, you can get more, but who wants to deal with that? And again, since I'm using the 1 screw, let me just show you. This is the device pushed tight together. Okay. This is what it looks like not pushed together. And this is how I've been operating it since. And I've had no problems. There's been no issue with e-liquid seeping inside or anything like that. So the 1 screw solution for somebody that does not want to use the micro USB charger is very realistic. It's very convenient. It limits your loss. And, honestly, there's not much else to say about it except it just makes sense if you're concerned about losing screws and don't have the knowledge and know how to find replacements in that size. let's go on to the final thoughts on this. So my opinion about the Pioneer for you IPV V2 is this. When it comes to build quality and construction, it is better than the Hanamods, it's better than the Cloudpour, it's better than any of the other 30-watt box mods as far as construction and feel and build quality. As you remember from the other review, I opened up the box, the back, all you saw was the battery port and the spring. There are no exposed wires, no exposed chips, no exposed shirt line falling down like mine continues to do between each of these segments. Sorry about that. So it's a great quality build device. The thing that's a little curious to me is the fact that the 100-watt Sigelei that I'm getting is at the exact same price point as this device. It's under $100. So what does that mean? To me it means if you bought this, use it proudly. People are fascinated by it. Every vape shop I've ever gone into, people are like, oh wow, is that the IPV V2? It's a great conversation starter. It works for what it's meant to do, which is not how I was trying to use it and not what it's marketed for. It's a great box mod. Keep it under 30 watts. Battery life is good. And again, I'll come out with the battery results for you guys by the end of the week. But as a 50 watt, using it at 30, 40, 50 watts consistently, not worth it. So again, the Sigelei 100 watt is coming out. It's going to have twice the amount of batteries. I think that's something worth waiting for. And honestly, if you have the money and you're interested in this right now, pre-order the Sigelei 100 watt. Or wait for Pioneer for you to come out with the IPV V3. Because, you know, I love Sigelei's mechanicals, but I've never seen or personally used a box mod from them. So I can't tell you if it's going to be the same quality or if it's going to be closer to a DNA 30 in feel and looks. So hold off and let's see what happens next month. When I get my Sigelei, just like the time I got the IPV V2, I will literally put up a video that day within hours of getting it in my hands. And I will update you accordingly as I know when I have a better idea of getting it. And let's see what happens from there. We'll do a side-by-side comparison. And hopefully the SX330 V3 proves to be as good, if not better, than this right here. I hope you guys enjoyed my IPV V2 follow-up video. Please come back soon because I am doing a review on the Tugboat clones. And I actually have a Tugboat clone to give away. Stay tuned for the Smug Juice review, which will actually be uploaded within the next 48 hours. Stay tuned for the Refuge Juice line review. And stay tuned for much, much more content because I have all the time in the world and all I want to do is share my knowledge and experience with you so that you can get the best vaping experience possible. Thank you. Vape strong, vape often, vape in public, but don't vape and drive. Please, just don't. It's stupid. Trust me.